Hello, and welcome back to HunterTuned. Today we are going to get the CRX running, and obviously if you guys know that I've been building up a B20 VTEC engine for my 91 CRX SI, and today I think we're going to get it running. So in the last few days I've actually been pretty busy here at the shop. I've been working on this Honda Prelude for a customer, and we got this thing tuned up pretty good. I'm probably going to go over some of that stuff here with you guys in a little while. But I did want to recap on the CRX quick before we get to the Prelude. So we got the B20 VTEC actually installed into the car now. I didn't really film any of the process, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that, but it's pretty self-explanatory, just like any other Honda engine. When you put it in, I got the B16 trans in one of the last videos. I got that all assembled, and then we just attached it to the engine. Used my competition stage 4 clutch from the hatch because I'm actually going to be upgrading this clutch to a twin disc at some point, whenever the funds are right. So yeah, and then I picked up a B16 OBD1 distributor from a local guy here. Said he had no issues with it and it was good to go. So I got it all chucked together here, and I actually used the 70mm throttle body off of that EG hatch that was here, because when we were on the dyno with it, it had some sticking issues, and I wasn't able to tune it, and I didn't want to mess with it, so I just chucked on the throttle body from my hatch and sent him down the road. But I didn't have another throttle body here, so I said, all right, I'll try that 70mm throttle body out and see if I can fix the sticking issue. And the sticking issue on this throttle body actually ended up being that the TPS, the way that the throttle body was machined, the way that the TPS was in there, it was actually rubbing on the inside. So if you took the TPS sensor off, it wouldn't stick. And then if you put the TPS sensor on, it would stick. And when I say stick, like, you would rev the car up and it would just hang at like 5,000–6,000 RPM, and you could not get the thing to come back down at all. So it was definitely a bad sticking issue for sure. So I got the throttle body all taken apart, and I actually just put a little small shim in between the TPS and the throttle body there, and that actually fixed the sticking issue on the throttle body. So now the throttle body doesn't stick. Yeah, so anyways, we got this thing thrown together. I had to do some minor wiring adjustments. We had to delete the resistor box, and then I threw a set of like stock CRV injectors in this thing with OBD2 clips, just for the time being, and then the stock like CRV regulator I had laying around, and then we had to switch the alternator plug from the OBD0 to an OBD2, because the alternator that is on this motor now is an OBD2 B series alternator, and I got one of the shorter belts, so it sucks the alternator up really close to the block, and it doesn't have any rubbing issues that I can see. You probably still have to pound out the frame if you want to run a B series alternator, even if you use that shorter belt. I think it's still needed to do that. But anyways, so I did actually skip ahead a few steps, like I was saying, and we got the CRX running. I got this Megan Racing header installed onto the motor. We come down here, I actually got it all welded up, and I put a test pipe in. We had to modify this piece of the header here in order to fit the rest of the existing exhaust that's on the car. We got a Hassport linkage on the car with poly bushings. I don't exactly know. I think it's a Hassport, one part of the linkage, and then it's like a stock DA part, another linkage. So it's kind of like a hybrid linkage that works pretty good for this setup. So we had to finagle with the linkage a little bit to get it to work, but it's like half Hassport and half DA or something. It's really weird. It's just something I had laying around. I got the axle shafts installed, obviously. We got the tires put back on. We got the big cross member thing installed. And then I just plumbed up the wiring harness just how I would on a single cam. And this thing kind of went together pretty damn good. So we did have some issues with the car so far. I didn't have a speed sensor, so I got a speed sensor from my buddy Cody. And he's a local dirt track racer guy. He does a lot with like the old DA stuff. And he had a cable speedometer thing that goes in the tranny, so I got one of them from him. And then I got the factory SI Speedo cable actually plugged right in. Like it was I didn't have to lengthen it or play with it at all. I know on my CRX HF the Speedo cable seemed a little bit too short for the B series stuff, so I had to actually use, I think I used a DA cable or something like that, and it ended up still being really tight. But this CRX SI Speedo cable seems to work perfectly. It doesn't have any issues there. And the clutch cable went on real good. I had a bracket for the B series cable transmission, and the stock clutch cable bolted right up. It is adjusted quite a far ways out. It doesn't have much adjustment left, but it is tensioned properly, and the clutch feels amazing. So that is good. I'm trying to think of some other stuff I did. This is just a valve cover I had laying around that we threw on it, and then this distributor. So I did fire the car up already, and we had some issues. The car didn't want to start at first, so I was playing with the tune. I just threw my S300 in it. I like to just tune stuff on S300 until I know it's good, and then I'll put it on a chipped ECU, just because the S300 can show me a lot more data than the Chrome stuff can. I know you can data log with Chrome, but sometimes, like I said, I just don't trust it that much. But the S300's in here, and I just put a Type R base map on it and deleted O2 and NOx sensor and disabled VTEC because I do not have it wired currently. I hooked up an oil pressure gauge and threw that in here as well. So anyways, went to start the car up. We bled the coolant, got oil in it, all that kind of stuff, and car fired up, but it was struggling a little bit, and then that check engine light came on right away. And it had a code for cylinder position sensor, which is a sensor inside of the distributor. So I went to inspect what was going on with the distributor, and I found the distributor exactly like this after I pulled the cap off. So I checked out the rotor, and there's no screw in the rotor at all, and this was kind of just flopping in here. Like this. It definitely should not be like this, and it should not have this much play. It just came right off. There was no screw in it at all, and the inside of the rotor is all wallowed out. So definitely going to have to put a rotor on this thing. And I also found out that there was a screw right here that had backed out from somewhere. I don't exactly know where this came from. I'm sort of assuming it was coming from, this was the rotor screw, and then the rotor backed out and then started, you know, malfunctioning and having issues. And with the rotor kind of dancing around in there, probably flung around some shit and damaged the CYP sensor. So I'm going to throw a new CYP sensor in this distributor quick, and I'm going to throw a new rotor on with a new screw and some red Loctite. A little bit unfortunate situation because I did buy this distributor from a guy and they said they had 0 issues with it. So clearly this distributor had issues because this stuff just doesn't happen over like startup or anything like that. This definitely was having issues, and the CYP sensor came on immediately after firing it up. So I think I'm actually going to try, and just put the rotor on this thing with a new screw and see if the CYP code goes away, but I don't think it's going to. I think the CYP sensor code is still going to be there, but I'm thinking maybe because the rotor screw was actually stuck to the side of the magnet on the CYP sensor, because the CYP is actually the first one in the distributor here. There's 3 of these like magnet sensors in the distributor on Honda distributors, and this CYP one, I think there was the rotor screw is stuck to it. So maybe it was like shorting out or causing it to read all the time or something weird like that. This thing definitely did not rev up like it should have, and I'm thinking this is a big issue why, so I'm going to check that out. Good thing is though, is the car has 80 pounds of oil pressure with a 530 weight oil, and after I warmed it up for a few minutes, even with these issues, the oil pressure was still at like 50, so and that's with 530 weight oil. So I'm gonna keep 530 in it until it needs thicker oil. That's usually what I do on a brand new motor setup like this, is I'll put new bearings in it and all that stuff, and then I'll start with a 530 weight, run the car for a little while, and if the oil pressure is below, say 20 at idle hot, I will upgrade to a 1030 or 1540, and if it still is low at hot idle, I will upgrade to a 2050, and that's usually for like real big clearance race motors. But this thing should have a pretty tight clearance on it with the new, it's a standard size bearings. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna dive into this distributor here and then get back with you guys in a minute. So I'll let you guys know what I find, and hopefully we can get this thing fired up. She's alive. She's alive. And code free. We got no check engine lights. We got 60 pounds of oil pressure at idle, and yeah, it's running good. Comes right back down to idle. Fucking mint. I also just verified that the battery was charging, and we have 13.8 volts at the battery. when it's running. So that's another really mint thing. So this thing's running really good. I'm gonna get to tuning it probably in the next video. I'm gonna get the wideband installed into it and some other small things. But like I said, I did have to replace that CYP sensor. I spent the last hour or two gutting the distributor. I put a new igniter in it and a new CYP sensor and a new rotor, and now it's finally good. So I put a new igniter in it mainly because when I would rev the car up before, the tach would kind of fluctuate, and usually when the tachometer fluctuates or bounces around a lot, the igniter is on its way out, or it's got a wiring issue. So I checked the wiring, all that was good, and yeah, swapping the igniter fixed that issue. So now we are ready to go, finally. Just gonna have to wire up VTEC and some other small things on the CRX here, but we do have the Prelude on the dyno here, and I wanted to run through this thing with you guys quick before I strap it down. We were messing with it last night with some subscribers. They actually stopped up here. I'll probably throw in some clips of them guys here at the end of the video. But this is a 2001 Honda Prelude with a F20B swap. It just has like a Skunk 2 Pro Series intake manifold and an AEM cold air intake, a DC Sports header, and it is tuned on a chip P28 right now. He said it's on a base map, and he brought it over to get some tuning done on it and make sure it's all good to go. We did a compression test on the engine. It all checks out. This customer would actually like to turbocharge this engine in the future. He might be coming back for turbocharging, which would be a really cool thing. He already got the turbo manifold and the turbocharger. He just needs to get some other small things before we can turbocharge it. This car has like a 2.5-inch exhaust on it and some other small things too. Me and Michael, actually Michael put the wideband in this car. I have my tuning wideband that I tune with the cars that don't have a wideband. I crawled under it, Michael crawled under it, took the test pipe plug out, threaded the O2 sensor in, and the O2 is sitting in the car now. I just plugged into the cigarette lighter, and I have my ostrich hooked up into the ECU. We set the ignition timing on this car last night, and H-Series, F-Series are a little bit different. You actually have to time them through the inspection cover over here. There's marks on the flywheel that actually you shoot with the timing light instead of shooting the crank pulley. Mainly because there's a bunch of accessory drive stuff going on over here. The alternator's in the front on these engines, as well as the power steering and AC, all in the front of the car because the way the strut tower design is on this chassis. So I'm gonna get this thing strapped down. We're gonna throw a base map in it, try to base off of the one that he had in the car. The base map that he had in the car was actually pretty solid. It was running pretty decent with that. The only thing that we did notice is the ignition timing was off a small bit. So yeah, we're gonna get right to it. Hello, and welcome back to HunterTuned. Today we are packing up and leaving for the day, but you'll be back in like 30 fucking seconds. So, had fun at the track the last day, or the last video. We had a lot of fun at the racetrack, but we are moving on back to work. It is, and we had some subscribers come up and hang out with us for the night, and we had a lot of fun just kind of dicking around and working on the CRX, and, playing with something on the dyno. And yeah, but anyways, thanks for stopping up, guys. This is Nick and AJ. AJ is actually the guy that traded me the sedan here that I got such a great deal on. But anyways, we got the sedan running obviously pretty good. We're trying to actually get rid of this thing and probably trade it for something else, like an EG, or there's actually another guy with an EK Coupe that might trade me. So I'm going to be waiting to talk to him. But I don't know, I've been here all fucking day and my phone hasn't had any service all day, so I don't know, maybe he messaged me or something, but Michael's fucking eating salsa over here. Great value, bro? Oh, if you guys haven't noticed, we got a bunch of banners up too. So we got the Honda banner and the Type R banner and the Mega Spool banner over here looking fucking minty pinty. So We had a subscriber actually send in some fan mail too, so he sent in a couple banners for the shop. I'm still accepting banners if you guys want to send some in from your shops or whatever. We actually got quite a bit of wall space covered up now. JP tuned, the Honda, the Type R1, and some other things that we got covered here.
We need more. Stealing.
And then we also got some more fan mail from Prime Pantry. So we got some more food and stuff for the fridge. We got some Doritos. We got some aftermarket Oreos.
They're gone.
We got some aftermarket energy drinks here. These are Solomio Silver Energy Drink. Christian, how are these energy drinks?
It tastes like Sprite.
Tastes like Sprite. Okay.
They're not bad. Awesome.
They're not bad? Okay, well, I don't drink caffeine, so we got a couple water bottles from the old Prime Pantry, the other
You can
Trine.
get 4 cases of water sent to you.
Well,
Hey, whatever, man.
He doesn't drink caffeine. Quick, get him decaf coffee.
No, fuck, Christian drinks all the damn caffeine in the world, and so does Michael, so.
I try not to.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Why not, dude?
It happens.
Decaf coffee is useless.
Yeah, no, it's not. At 2 in the morning, I told you what? It's fucking
useless.
It's freaking great.
Useless.
What? So we got. I think I got it.
Dukes of Hazzard over the fucking
Run, Michael!
So Christian was pretty discouraged the other day at the racetrack. He,
No, not discouraged. I was pissed.
You were what? Pissed. God damn it, I turned the camera right when you did it again.
He just took a dump tube to the ass.
Thigh. What's my thigh?
Just 5.
Oh, you want to
This car
replay?
defiled him.
No.
Yes. Do it again.
You goddamn Daisy Dukes over there fucking sliding over the hood.
I'm saying it's like movies, you know.
If that dump pipe pants is I'm gonna
Oh man, you're fucking up your mint hood, dude.
Oh shit! Shit!
Patina, bro. You're messing
fix
up
this
the
for us.
patina.
Stop it! Stop that right now.
Hey, I got a hood at home. It's fucking not cut, but it's got rust holes.
Oh,
Lightweight.
look, you got a hood right there. It's got
That's
rust
all
holes.
85.
So anyways, Christian broke his car at the racetrack the other day, just kind of giving you guys some updates on the last few days, but Christian broke his axle inside the differential, thought about selling the car, sold the car, got it back, got a Jeep, got some other bullshit, and now he's fixing his car.
Yeah, I got an axle.
Yeah. So HunterTuned donated an axle to him because,
Fucked.
yeah.
Guys, we're on YouTube. You can't use that language.
I can.
Stop it. We got these stickers on this car. They came in a pack.
Yeah, I seen that because I had the same issue in you're missing the N.
I know. Shut up.
What was this pack like? $2 or
jerk.
it was like $7.
I'm pretty sure it's 2 separate packs that they just.
Yeah,
combined.
because it's not cut like that.
And then these are sideways, so you can only read them if the car's like rolled.
I had the same.
No,
thing
that's
on
for
my
when
car.
you're drifting.
Yeah.
You're drifting.
Sideways.
Alrighty guys, so we actually just got done with the Prelude. It was on the dyno. We messed with it pretty much all last night trying to get the car to run 100%, and we got it as good as we could get it. We ended up finding out that the AEM cold air intake is actually causing quite a bit of a weird dip, and can't really get it out with any tuning. So it's a mechanical thing where the guy's going to have to change up the exhaust and change the intake system on the car to get rid of this little dip. You can't really feel it at all on the street, but it is something that is to be of, concern of a tuner, obviously. So this is the dip I'm talking about. The car crosses into VTEC around 4,500 or so and starts to increase in power and increase in power and increase in power, and then right around 6,000, it starts to level off and almost drop for like 500 RPM here. It loses about 5 horsepower. And then it starts to come back up and travel upward again. So the car ended up making 176 horsepower, which is pretty good for considering it is a completely bone stock engine and no cams, no nothing, with the DC Sports header and a pretty choked up exhaust. And that AEM intake isn't really the best because Jason Waters was telling me again that sometimes those intakes, when they have a bunch of bends in them, like that one has 2 bends in the intake pipe. And the filter itself was actually choking up the car too. We removed the filter and we removed the intake pipe, and it actually cleaned it up quite a bit. So, but that car was pretty simple. We had to install the wideband into the car, obviously, and the car had a pretty messed up wideband spot where I had to put the wideband in the test pipe. It was real tight. Couldn't really spin a wrench really good, but we ended up getting the wideband in it, tuning the car, test driving it on the street tuning it, and dyno tuning it. 176 horsepower, bone stock F20. Is what it is. Drives very good, drives really good. But that's going to be it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm fucking beat. I've been working out here like crazy. And we got the CRX up and going in this video, so that is really cool. I'm very excited for this thing to get running good. We're going to have to come out here, time the distributor tomorrow, set the ignition timing, and get that wideband plugged in. And we'll get to tuning. I'd like to do maybe another heat cycle or two. I don't exactly know how many I'm going to do before I really start whaling on it. Normally I do like 2 or 3 heat cycles, change the oil, and then just whale on it. So, brand new motor. Send it. Send it. Send it, Poppy! Alrighty, guys, so we'll pick up tomorrow and get back to work again. But thanks for watching the video, guys. I'm going to have to show you the garage again at the house. We put a bunch of shelving up, and it's looking really nice at the house again for the garage at the house. I might have to show that here in an upcoming video. I got a bunch of stuff in stock again on the website. So if you guys want some stickers, please feel free to support HunterTuned. Like I said, this is kind of my full-time job, trying to upkeep the shop and trying to upkeep, you know, bills and everything like that without an actual job. Just doing YouTube and the shop here full-time now. So any support on the website is greatly appreciated. We did get some more fuel injectors in stock. I have flex fuels in stock and the normal decaps in stock. So place an order. You guys can always email me too if you guys have questions on anything. And if you guys need any parts, I do have a bunch of parts laying around that I probably will get rid of. So if you guys need anything, hit me up. I do have a few chipped ECUs going to be available as well. Those are going to be a first come, first serve basis. And I just kind of wanted to throw that in here too because I have a couple chip kits and a couple ECUs ready to go in stock. Very limited supply, $200 a piece for the chipped computers. And yeah, that's just is what it is. They're getting really hard to find, so I got to charge for them a little bit. Have a great night and a better tomorrow. We will see you later.